Hi everyone. Now, today, 19th of November, I don't know if everybody knows, but it's International Men's Day. The cat's come to say hello. It's to bring awareness to all sorts of things about men, their image, how they're supposed to be in society and things like that. So first of all, I would like to wish every man, shape or form, age, colour, wherever you are in this world, I wish you a healing, prosperous Men's Day. Sending you my love. I do understand that there are different sides of human nature. It's not just men, it's everybody, women as well, you know. We go through the same things, we are just human. The only difference between men and women really is that women can give birth, you know, and I think our hearts are a little bit larger for the fact that we reproduce, you know, and then there's the genitalia, you know, obviously, but then, you know, our brains are the same, they function basically the same way, obviously, brains slightly different, because we have different organs, you know, genitalia for women giving birth, again, you know, so we have that separate bit, but that's all there is, you know, as far as learning and cognitive behaviour and things like that, and understanding, we're all similar, and it all ranges from the good to the bad, you know, but over today I've realised, over a series of events, piecing things together, it stems from what we learn as a society, as human beings. From a very early age, we can either learn how to be ourselves, how to love others, how to be confident, and all the good things, you know, that you want to be, and that you see in so many humans. And then there's the other side, where we learn to be dysfunctional, twisted. Our learning isn't as it should be. I can see the cat staring into the camera. She's just staring. You've got beautiful yellow eyes, sweetheart. Yeah, my cat's called Safi, if you're wondering. Oh God, how old is she now? She's about 11 now. And since we moved here, she's got fat. She doesn't go out very much, so yeah, she just eats and sleeps and poops and whinges for food. But yeah, we're all given a way of thinking from a very early age, from the people around us, you know. For men, you know, they've grown up having to think that they have to be brave and strong, and they can't show emotion, that's a weakness, you know, they should fight for everything, you know. Or they've been completely emasculated, where they don't know their worth at all, you know, they've had like a dominant female figure or a dominant male figure that's not really giving them the nurturing that they need. And this can go in different ways, so many different ways. You know, you get the men that people will call, well, they'd normally call weak, you know, a wimp or, you know, something like that. Shows emotion, cries, you know, they get ridiculed and called all sorts of names and judged for showing their emotions. And showing your emotions isn't a bad thing, it's how you process the information of what you're going through. It's the only way, and when you're told you can't show your emotions, that's when mental illness kicks in. And the longer it goes on, the more mental illness you develop, the more severe and debilitating it becomes. And that's not just for men, it's for women too, you know, it's for all of us. It happens in animals. You know, you see these caged animals and they're going mad, you know. It's there for us to see, and it's the way that we're nurturing people. It's the way, even with the animals, it's the way that we treat them, that we get back whatever they give us, you know. We're often twisted to believe a certain reality, straight from birth, you know. Some families, you know, they're nurturing, they understand, and, you know, they know how to treat people, and they know how to be kind and nurturing, and then the kids grow up to be independent, steady, mentally healthy people, and then you get the families that are toxic. In whatever way, there's so many different variations. I mean, just being in poverty for starters, you know, that can cause problems. Greed, the need for, the want, you know, for not having anything, you know, the want for love, the want for this, the want for that. And it all gets ingrained into us when we're a child, when we grow up, and it carries on through our adult life. But it's what we're taught to believe. Women are taught to believe from a very early age that they need to find a husband. They need to be able to clean a house. They need to be able to cook. No, everybody needs to be able to cook and clean, you know. Everybody needs to know how to do these things so you can survive on your own. We seem to be a society now that isn't a community. It's not for each other, you know, like it used to be. It's for themselves and their close ones. No, we'll keep it this way, this is for us, this is how we do things, this is it. And it's all enclosed. And we have these little patches of families that grow up in different beliefs and different toxic environments. And it all intermixes, you know. And it goes out into the community and into society. And we have the good families that are, you know, nurturing and that are in the communities that help others. The communities are thriving. The communities work together. You know, I've lived around England, a lot of places in England, and you can see the pockets of each. I mean, at the moment, since I've moved up to St Helens, really, there's a lot of pockets of toxic families built up on a generation of coal miners. Very tough men, you know, the working man, hard working down the pits all the time, you know, and the women stayed at home looking after the kids and ruled the families and, you know, made sure everything went as it did. But they were a very dog-eat-dog community. And you can see it, how much it's been passed on through the generations. And now this town, there's not much for the people here. A few years ago, it was actually the UK's #1 spot for male suicides. I mean, I've been trying to help myself with mental illness and help my friends and things like that, you know. So I've done a lot of research and been trying to get through the services myself, which is very difficult. I mean, there's been a time where I've been waiting for mental health treatment, therapies, whatever, and I've been waiting for 1.5 years. You know, when your head's up your arse and in that moment you want to take your life, you need help there and then, not 1.5 years down the road. You know, you might not even want to be here in the next 10 minutes. You know, how can you sit and wait for that long? But it is possible. I did it. I've had to wait longer again. I think it was another 9 months I had to wait because my treatment finished and I needed it further on down the line, and it was still a massive waiting list. We don't recognise how serious mental instability is. It affects us on a daily basis, and it's not just in our families and it's not just in our communities. It's across the globe, and it's across the governing structures. They have a grasp on the toxic side of society, of human psychology. divide and conquer. You know, when people are fighting between themselves, you don't see them siphoning off all the goodies and that, and then we get blamed for a society that's going under. It starts at birth. If you treat people right, if you get them to develop a healthy brain pattern, a healthy brain function in all the right areas for self-worth, ability, non-judgmental, unconditional loving, a lot of society's problems will fall away. When people can be people, can be human beings, can be what this universe wants us to be, which is a living entity that's been put on this planet to evolve, to nurture, to help this planet evolve, to help everything on it evolve. And we're not, because we are taught to think wrong about ourselves, think wrong about others, think wrong about the whole of this planet, the whole of this solar system, and the whole of this universe. There's so much changing to do with what we know about our universe, our planet, and us as a species. And it is all to do with our computer. You know, you put in the wrong bloody software on your computer, it's not going to work right, is it? It's going to start packing in and doing things that you don't want it to do, you know, downloading viruses and pop-ups everywhere and things like that, you know. It's what happens. You stick a plant in an unnurturing environment, what does it do? It dies. It slowly withers and dies. And this is what's happening to society. And you can even see it up to the point of dementia, Alzheimer's. You know, you have all these generations that have gone through so much, wars, poverty, you know, strikes, all sorts, terrorism, you know, and it all has an impact. I mean, I understood it when I was going through so much. My head was shut down. I couldn't remember things. Or I'd be triggered into a memory years ago, you know, and constantly worry about that. Now, in my only opinion, I have mentioned this before on something else, and somebody said it was a good question, but I didn't get no answers. You know, it was the link between trauma, mental illness, and eventually Alzheimer's and dementia. I do think it's because your brain's been in that state of survival mode, which is what they call it, in a state of fear, constant anxiety, constant panic, because you've got constant triggers going on around, and your brain just doesn't know how to cope, so it shuts down. You forget things. My daughter used to call me Dory, you know, the blue fish from Nemo. Yeah, just keeps swimming. Because it was, my brain was that bad. You know, I couldn't remember what I'd said 5 seconds ago. But it was because my head was just battered constantly from a traumatic, unnurturing environment. And I didn't realise at the time. But we get it from TV, we get it from society, we get it from every day. As soon as we walk out, well, as soon as we open our eyes, where as soon as you look at the news, it's all doom and gloom. You know, it's all to give you that fear impact, to keep you in that survival mode. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Oh God, I've got to pay this, I've got to pay that. And because you're stuck in that mode, you can't see what you're supposed to see. You can't see the toxic ways you're being manipulated to think, which stems me back to International Men's Day. You know, we're led to believe that we should be a certain way, we should act a certain way, we should have a certain strength to not show emotions or to show emotions or whatever. You know, there is healthy ways and there is unhealthy ways. And it's okay to be who you are. And the first thing really is to accept who you are as a human being, separate from being male or female, old or young, black or white, whatever. You know, the list goes on. You know, you are a human being. You are a life form. 2 arms, 2 legs. Well, for most of us, and I'm sorry for the disabled people that may not have those things. You know, there is obviously the diversity, but even then, you know, you're still a human. You're still a soul in a body. You still matter. You're still a part of this universe, somebody that's needed for this earth to evolve. You know, for you know, even if you're just kind to one person, you know, smile at one person, that's being good, that's putting good energy out there, and it passes on to the next person, and they might pass it on, and it's a domino effect, or butterfly effect, as they say. All sorts of things, you know. Go and see how your neighbour is, or, you know, just go. There's all sorts of things that you can do that's so small and insignificant but have such a big impact. It's like me, you know, I'm just me, but I'm just sharing what I know about how I've evolved from being brainwashed in childhood, growing up, and how it's impacted me as a human being. You know, I'm a welder. I'm a qualified welder. I worked on a boat for 10 years as a deckhand. You know, I was jumping off with a rope, tying the boat up, you know, by myself. You know, a 175-ton boat full of passengers. Just me and my father-in-law, like, you know. But, you know, in a society, I never got a chance to, especially with welding, you know, I was qualified. I got MVQ2, I can do gas, MIG, TIG, arc, and all of it. And very well, actually. But because I was a woman, when I got my first exam, my first certificate, my MVQ1, I got told that I wouldn't be employed because I'm a woman and I'd get the training and then fuck off and get pregnant. So, you know, that wasn't where I wanted to be in life. I wanted to be a welder. I didn't want kids. I'd been freaked out at an early age. I don't know what it was, but it was some TV programme, and it was on, and I think I walked into the room, and it was some woman giving birth, you know, and the baby was crowning. And I didn't like blood, I still don't, but, you know, that used to make me pass out and things like that, you know. And it traumatised me. I never wanted children because, no, I didn't want that happening to me. It was like, no, oh my God, I don't want kids. You know, I must have been about 5 or 6. Yeah, it was very freaked out. I was very freaked out, but nobody explained what was happening. Not properly, anyway. Not like they should have done. So yeah, it just goes to show certain things that you get taught traumatise you, that change you, just twist what you think, what you're supposed to think, how you act, how you behave, what you do in life, you know. And if you're a man out there, whatever you're being told or judged about or people are saying about you or whatever, some of them might be true, some of them might be not. we probably find a lot of it isn't true, but we tend to take that on board. We tend to think it's wrong to be ourselves because other people are telling us it's wrong. I was told all my life that it was wrong to be who I am. And if you're watching these videos and you've built up that sort of emotional relationship with who I am, then you know that they're just complete liars, and everything that they've said about me is just absolute bullshit. And it's a reflection on their own insecurities, what they see in themselves that they hate about me. You know, it's just so twisted. But then they have their own mental illness, their own structure of being brought up. For instance, just it's something that my friend Heather was saying the other week about one of her ex-boyfriends, you know, because we talk about this sort of thing all the time, you know, how people's brains work and just how easy it is to influence somebody in the wrong way, but also how easy it is to influence somebody in the right way too. And it all depends on how we treat people. You know, it depends on me. It depends on if I want to treat people good. I will do. And it depends on if you've been brought up to do that as well. And it also depends on if you've been brought up to feel you hate people, that you should hate women, or you should hate yourself, you know. It's, yeah, she was on about an ex-boyfriend, sorry, I went off a bit then. But she was saying that when she started seeing him, she spent time at his house with him and his son, and his son was about 8 years old. And she couldn't believe how the son would act around women. She'd go out the street with him going in through town or something, and the lad would be like, oh, look at the boobs on that woman, oh, she's a good, you know, I'll give her one, and things like that. And at 8 years old. And it was just exactly what his dad was teaching him to be like towards women. Because when Heather got her, you know, was spending time with him, she'd see her boyfriend commenting on women in exactly the same way. Degrading and, you know, not very nice view of women, you know. But when you teach the kids what to think, they're like that way. You know, kids are sponges. So I've got to turn the light on because it's going dark. The brains are sponges. As soon as you're born, you're learning. You learn how to cope in your environment. You learn how to live in your environment from the people around you, the things around you, the influences. And if you taught a bad way of thinking, you'll act a bad way. You'll act in the way that you've been taught. It just makes complete sense. I was taught how to be insecure. I was taught to let people use me. I was taught that I didn't have any value in life. I was taught to keep quiet. I was taught not to trust the right people. I was taught to trust the wrong people. And it has had a very big impact on my life, all my life. Every single decision I've made. And yeah, just for International Men's Day, all I wish for you, I won't say are happy, because I know that there's many people that aren't happy where they are, with who they are. Especially men, you know. They've lost their place, as many of us have. Society as it is isn't the place for anybody really. Not the structure that it is at the moment, you know. There is just no growth. it's stagnant, it's stuck. So I just wish for every man out there, you don't have to man up. Feel your emotions. Be who you want to be. Be who you are. Don't let anybody stop you just because of what they say to you. It's just their opinion and not necessarily true. You are a living human being and capable of so much. We're not here for destruction. We're here to grow, to nurture, to pass on the knowledge to the next generation. That's what evolution is, isn't it? Even from the cell structure, we pass on that knowledge to the next generation. And it's not just in the genes, it's after as well. How we nurture them, how we help them grow, how we help them become adults. And if you're giving them the wrong information, then, it's just wrong. And I am very sorry to everyone, all the men that's been told to man up, be a man, don't show emotion. I am very sorry that you've been taught that. And I do wish you the strength and the determination to be who you are. Be the man that you are. Don't man up, just be the man you are. And for all those that have been emasculated, that have been trodden, stuck under the thumb from whoever, you're more than that. You are, again, a man. You are a human being. You are strong. Every human being is strong. The capabilities are brilliant. They're endless. You're capable of love, of giving it and receiving it. You're capable of success, of growth, of whatever your dreams are. You are capable of getting that. And with both sides of the spectrum, it's just dropping what everybody else is thinking about you, or what you think everybody else thinks about you. That is not what you think about yourself. If you listen deeply and truly, take away all those other voices, all those other people's opinions, all those other people's structure, take it away and listen to what your own self, your own soul is telling you about yourself, about what you want out of life, about how you should be, how you should act. Your voice, your words. You know your own words, and you know everybody else's voices and words. There's a certain tone, and everything comes back in, well, for me, everything comes back in my own voice, but the tones and the certain word structures, I know exactly who it is that's talking in my head. It isn't me. I know my own tones, so I know how to recognise my own comforting self, my own beliefs, my own values, what I want. And I know it's hard to walk away from some things like that, to actually try and reprogram your brain to have belief in yourself and not to believe what you've been taught. The toxic patterns, the toxic imprinted brainwashing, that's all it is. You can get out of this. You are able to be who you want to be. You've just got to, well, it would be the perfect place to say grow a pair of balls. But yeah, you are capable of getting the strength. It's deep down inside. You've just got to believe in yourself and be honest and truthful with yourself about what you've learnt and what you need to learn to get forward in life. So yeah, I've rambled on enough, I think. So to every single man on this planet, sending you lots of love, lots of healing, and thank you